Hello, my name is Jurij Krpan. I'm coming from Slovenia. I'm running a small space, an ex-chapel, which is something like 150 square meters. It's inside the building, and it's not so attractive as Solstice Center at all. It's very difficult to find it, actually. You can't approach from the street. You need to know where the place is. We started to work in the gallery something like 12 years ago, and it was a strange project for everybody, because Ljubljana, it's rather a small city, and there was a lot of gallery already. And when I was invited by the student organization to run this space, to run the program in this space, I was immediately, I was asking myself, actually, why another gallery? Why to establish a new space, whether there are already so many and there are not as much artists after all, no? But since the beginning, I decided that we will not show paintings or two-dimensional works. Partially because the place itself, as an architecture, it's really demanding. It has its own presbyterium. When you enter the place, then there is a main space and a side navel. It's having an apsida, and all along one wall are windows. On the opposite walls are columns. So it's really difficult to show two-dimensional work. This was actually the second excuse why we don't want to show paintings and photographies and stuff. There was also my personal wish that I would like to occupy myself with something which is having an impact on society, which does not just provide an entertainment for the tired masses and so on. In Ljubljana, we had this so-called roaring 80s, where everything starts to boil and the society starts to reflect about itself. And as you know, in the 90s, we changed everything upside down. We split for Yugoslavia. We changed the system. We were changing the currency. Everything was new. But it was this was possible because people became aware, start to reflect upon their lives already in the 80s. And artists in that time have a big influence on society, on the people who start to reflect their position and who start to think and establish their own attitude toward the system, by all means in which they were immersed. And that was also the case with the art system as such. Well, not really at the beginning, but very soon we started to look around on contemporary issues, and we decided that the program we are going to run, it's going to be called an contemporary investigative arts program. So we decided to walk on a very tiny and a sharp line between investigation as such and art expression as such. And we've done many projects which we said in advance that this is not an artistic project or so, but it uses maybe the structure of an art piece, or simply by the potential and the power of creativity, it's posing a difficult question to an art which can be just an entertaining practice. So very soon we were starting to attract artists which were working with technology, which were looking around themselves and try to figure out what is the era they are living in. The fields which were before reserved just for the scientists or for technologies, for big corporations, became accessible because everybody could have a computer, everybody could really have an access to technology, to knowledge. Internet came. You know, when I start to run the space, we have these 286 computers where you could just type some text and so. But very soon we got the access to better technology, so we could approach to the question of contemporary life immersed into science, immersed into technology, which became almost a new religion. We started to use all those tools, and we were actually enabled to work with. Well, that one is not working. We were co-producing a piece which were investigating movements in zero-G gravity. So we were co-producing a piece of one theater director who went to Star City, Moscow, and took their company, his company, into a parabolic airplane, and they were having a show, theater show in simulated zero-G gravity. Of course, Stellark was one of the first artists invited, because he was starting using technology on his body. Well, he's one of the first who is using it, and we were always interested in interaction, in cross-section of technology, science, human body, and the impact that the technology and science is having on our lives. This is an exoskeleton of Marceli Antonés Roca. It's a Spanish artist from Barcelona. He made this exoskeleton which will allow him to perform also after his death. This is the guy with another performance with a concert with robotic instruments. This is Barry Schwartz using high voltage electricity. This is 2 million volts concert. The electricity sparkling all around, and he was creating a great maze. Istvan Kantor, it's one of the oldest artists who is investigating the coexistence with machines and with human. Star Stensli, it's a very important artist from Norway. He made his PhD thesis on cyber sex issues. We know that internet brought these questions of gender, of eroticism, and libidinalization of machines, and so on. Speaking about libidinalization, this is Paul Grosjean, Sex at Robots, 2 robots, male and female. It was an installation which was premiered on Venice Biennale 2 years ago. Kapelica Gallery was his next venue.